Money Monster is directed by Jodie Foster, and it stars George Clooney, Julia Roberts, and Jack O'Connell, and is a story of basically this money guy that does, stocks and stuff, and he's an expert in money and things like that, and that's played by George Clooney, and he has this whole show, and he's a big, pompous guy, and he's into the stock market and all this stuff, and he tells people to buy stock or to not to sell, and he tells, money things, And Julia Roberts is the director. She's like she's the head of the show. She makes it all run, and she's a showrunner. And Jack O'Connell comes in and he holds up George Clooney because he made a bad. George Clooney told him to make a bad deal, and now Jack O'Connell's all mad at him. He has a gun in his face and he makes him put a bomb on him and all this stuff. And the movie is a suspense thriller kind of thing where you're trying to figure out what happened with this deal, why he's so upset, what could George Clooney do to get out of this situation, how's Julia Roberts going to handle it. And this is a movie that I saw trailers for, and I was pretty excited to see because I like Jodie Foster. I like her movies. I like the way that she directs. I think she has a good style. I think she has some really good things to say. I like the movies that she has made. And obviously, George Clooney is awesome. I love seeing George Clooney. And Julia Roberts is an awesome actor. And also, Jack O'Connell from Unbroken, he's a really good actor that I look forward to seeing more and more because I loved him in that movie. So I was excited to see this movie. And I'll say that I actually ended up enjoying this movie. I think it's not getting too good of reviews from, I haven't seen any reviews for it already, but from what I've seen, I don't think too many people are liking it. But it's a movie that I actually ended up enjoying because I thought that even though the suspense wasn't as tense as the movie I think wanted it to be, I thought it was there, and I thought that the way that they set up the scenario and the way that they handled it was pretty realistic. And I was thinking about it, I'm like, I don't know how this would actually play out in real life. I don't know how it would actually go, but I thought that the way that they did it was as realistic as I could possibly think of, and I really liked the characters in it. George Clooney kind of redeemed himself throughout the movie. He kind of changed his character, which is cool to see a story arc, and him interacting with Julia Roberts they did a really good chemistry together. And I really liked Jack O'Connell with George Clooney. I thought that they had good chemistry and the way they worked together, and Jack O'Connell had a good chemistry with him and with the camera, and you felt for him, you could tell that he was hurt by what was happening. And he's just an average guy. And the movie it's kind of a political kind of movie with, the stock and all this stuff, and I don't really know too much about that, but I don't think you have to. And even though I think the movie has somewhat of an agenda for it, I don't think that you have to take it that way. I think you could pretty much go into this movie and just enjoy it as a movie. You don't have to really think too much about real life and all this stuff because it kind of sets it up and it kind of shows both sides to the story from what I took out of it. And I like the way that it didn't just completely black or white it. It was really kind of in the middle. You kind of saw both sides of the story with everything going on. And I really enjoyed just watching these characters interact. I liked the way that it concluded. I liked the way that the story continued on. It definitely had dry spells. It definitely lagged on in the middle a little bit. It definitely got a little bit like, all right, where are we going? Like, can we just end this thing? Whereas Eye in the Sky was a movie that it has a similar kind of premise where it all takes place in real time, and that movie just goes and goes, and you're just so tense the whole time, you're all going crazy. In this movie, you're kind of like, all right, this is kind of boring right now because nothing's happening, So there's many parts of this movie where that kind of happens, and the movie is almost unrealistic at points because you're like, I don't know if this is how this would actually happen, that seems kind of unrealistic. But for the most part, I thought it did a good job being as realistic as it could and, suspending belief when we could, And overall, I thought that Jodie Foster did a good job directing. Her style is it's not in your face or all that special or anything, but she does a good job directing here. I think that George Clooney gives a good performance, Julia Roberts, everybody gives a good performance. Nobody really took me out of the movie. It's just that the story was overall just it's a thrilling movie and you're kind of on the edge of your seat, but not all the way to the front, just holding on. You're kind of just like, yeah, I'm on for the ride. I was there for the ride during the whole movie. I wasn't clinching my seat, but I was along for the ride. I ended up enjoying the movie. It's definitely not perfect, definitely has problems, but I think it's an enjoyable movie to see. Probably better at home. You don't have to rush out to the theater and see it. I mean, if you do, I don't think you'll be too disappointed, but it's probably better just watching it at home, just catching it on TV and be like, oh, wow, yeah, I like that movie. It's engaging enough, and that's why I'm going to have to go 3 out of 5 for Money Monster. I thought it was a pretty good movie. I really had no big problems with it. I actually enjoyed it more than I disliked it. So, yeah, it's right there. You know, it's not a fantastic movie or anything, but it's a thumbs up for me. 3 out of 5. Yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this and you want to see more reviews from a guy like me, you can subscribe, and I'll see you at the next one.